there's so many things I want to ask you, but let me maybe just allow you to start. Obviously, we've all read about the turbulence, the troubles, the tribulations, the challenges in Sri Lanka, but tell us what the world needs to know right now about Sri Lanka and where you're taking it.
Well, Stephen, if you look back onto May, July last year, Sri Lanka was on the verge of chaos, and no one was willing to take charge or take leadership. I was in a peculiar position. The 2019 presidential election, the party wanted to have a populist approach, and therefore they made a deputy leader, the candidate. As I anticipated, he lost quite badly. The COVID came in, and thereafter it was in 2020 August that we went for election. I was of the view that we should stay with the IMF program that we were committed. The program we started in 2016 wanted Sri Lanka to commit itself to a primary surplus and to reduce the subsidies. We worked this out, and by 2018, we had a primary surplus of 300 million US dollars. That's small, but we could build it up. But thereafter, the new government, cancelled the IMF agreement. So my campaign, I said, we go back and ask them that we put back the IMF agreement, give us power, and that we will also look around and raise $5 billion. When I was Prime Minister, I had negotiated with the Japanese, the Indians, and others for about 3 to about 4 billion worth of projects. All that were cancelled. But my party members of the view that was too narrow, that we should be more populist and go along. So they broke away from the party, and few of us suggested behind the contest. When the results were announced, for the first time, my party had only one member in parliament, that was myself. All the others were defeated. The breakaway is at 50, but I still keep insisting that IMF was the only solution. On May 9th of last year, there were riots. Houses of 65 members of parliament in government were burned down, and the Prime Minister had to resign, so that night I was talking to all the government members, the houses were burned, and seeing what help I could give. The next day, the President called the leader of our breakaway faction, the opposition, and asked him to take over the government. He refused. In the meantime, I've been advising the President of the IMF, I've been in touch with IMF, with the World Bank. So the government members insisted that I should become the Prime Minister. And on Thursday, 2 days later, I was voted as Prime Minister, and they said they will support me. I said, how can you have a Prime Minister who has only used, who is the only member of the party? So they said, no, we'll support you, and we start negotiating with the IMF. We, by that time, our debts had come to about, previous year, our debt service was $8 billion. So by April 2022, we had declared ourselves bankrupt. Then, as we were recovering, as the government settled down and started work, the number of protesters started coming. Those who organized the protests were worried, and on July 9th, they got a large number of people down to Colombo, and something that was never done before. They invaded the official residence of the President. The President had to flee to the Harper and get onto a ship of the Sri Lankan Navy. That evening, that afternoon, the party leaders met and they said the President should resign, and then the idea that I should be the acting President. But then the opposition said I should also resign. So I said, under the Constitution, first we have to find a person who has a majority support in Parliament to come up with something. Then I will resign. In the meantime, urged by some of the media, the protesters came home and burned the house. They thought I would leave. I didn't. The next day, some of our ambassadors wanted me to resign. Wanted the speaker to take over. The speaker said no. I refused to resign. On Monday, I assembled the cabinet. The president by that time had got him out of the country or he had gone to Maldives. I had a cabinet meeting. We televised it. And then the protesters decided that group that they should now take over the Prime Minister's office and take over Parliament. So 2 days later, for about 5-6 hours, there was a big fight going on outside the Prime Minister's office. I didn't want to order them to open fire. So finally they broke into the Prime Minister's office and the army with me. In the afternoon, they were marching on Parliament. The head of the chief of the defense staff requested the party leaders to make a statement that they should not take over Parliament. The opposition leader said, then I told the army commander, you can't allow this Parliament to be taken. You are responsible for this building and you must safeguard. I must say, in fairness to him, he took the best battalion in Sri Lanka, the Harper, and sent the battalion unarmed to take on the protesters. They were successful, the protest was broken, and but 24 soldiers were injured. By that time, I thought, okay, now I'll come and I'm taking over. The president had given his resignation. No one was willing to allow me to be sworn in as the acting president in the buildings. I didn't want to use Parliament. I didn't want to use the Chief Justice's residence. Some of the other buildings, the ministers were boarding. So I had to go to a family temple near my house early morning. The Chief Justice came there and I was sworn in at the family temple. Then the priest made a request, kindly don't announce where you were sworn in. So there was a photograph of me inside the temple, no one knew where it had taken place. There onwards, I thought that I should first, then we had to have the election of the president. In the meantime, I took measures to restore law and order. I had one problem. All the Western ambassadors turned up and protested, and I said that I should allow the protest to go on. I said these are not protests, these are actions to overthrow the government of Sri Lanka and Parliament. And I had to a number of protesters were arrested. But the judges, the minor judiciary was released. Everyone was released. Not a single protester was being taken. So they were emboldened. The president of the Bar Association was with them. I consulted the Attorney General and he said, look, they are trying to attack Parliament, they are terrorists. So I put a detention order and took 2 of them in. That's the only way that it settled. Then we said, kindly clear the Prime Minister's office, and the army went in and cleared it. Then we gave orders to clear the President's office and the President's house. When it came to the election, it was a peculiar situation. There was the government party, which we were opposed to, led by the Rajapaksas, and the opposition. And I found that I had support among the government party and in the opposition. So they wanted me to contest. I contested. I won by 135 votes. And once I became the president of Sri Lanka, I just gave orders that there can't be any type of demonstrations in the country of one. With that, we were able to restore order. There were a large number of people who were frightened by this, but who would send messages to me to kindly support that they are going to restore law and order. Virtually the Buddhist clergy, they had been threatened, their temples were being taken over, a lot of businesses, a lot of middle class people, and even in the villages. So there was silent majority was in support of re-establishing law and order. They were not being for me, but they were there for re-establishing law and order. So once this happened, I took the other steps necessary to deal with the economic crisis we had. We started negotiating, and by September we had staff level agreement. And the rest I can explain to you in detail or one question.
Well, look, all fascinating. I want to boil it down just to make sure that everyone really understood the key points in that story. Because I think it's a remarkable story. The key point is this, that you saw the country, not just the other party, but your own party, wanting your country to adopt an economic path that you believe would be disastrous. Rather than compromise with that, you oppose not just the other guys, you oppose your own party, were basically thrown out of your own party, where they left. You were reduced to being a single member of parliament who believed the course was wrong. The only guy, but the consequence is, less than 2 years later, they have now turned around and made you the prime minister and then successively the president as a one-man party. It's actually a remarkable story of her. Yeah. And I like to think of myself as courageous, but I was never courageous enough to be a one-man party. I got to tell you, ever. Anyway, but Ranil, how long do you think it will be? You've got a mammoth agreement now. How long till Sri Lanka is kind of back to a reasonable growing economy? What's the time frame? Because, as you know, tough medicine, people can't take that for very long. So how long until things are back on the rails?
We have to get a major foreign exchange sources turning again. Firstly is the remittances from abroad, which had come down, which seems to be restoring. More and more money is coming every month. Second is going to be tourism next year, it will be a big one. The problem is going to be export, especially apparel, since the European economy is down and the US is down. Basically, apparel export this quarter is down to about 25%. It's not only Sri Lanka, Bangladesh is also affected. So the prosperity of the Western economy is determining. But I think by end of 2024, we'll be back to normal. The funding agencies will all get in and help us once the debt restructuring is over. I plan to finalize the debt restructuring by September. As I go back, the Parliament will vote on Sri Lanka's debt restructuring strategy once that is on. But idea is, what I want to completely liberalize, the structural reforms have been done. Go ahead, immediately liberalize the economy and then ensure that more investments come into Sri Lanka. In the long term, you need investments to shift the balance of trade in your favor. So might as well start that now. But I am confident by 2024 we'll have much better.
And in the end, what you're saying is, I think, a message for all of us. Obviously, less serious economic problems in our countries, but challenges nevertheless. The only way out, really long term, is a private sector-led, market-oriented.
Market-oriented, trade-integrated growth strategy. That's all that's available. I don't think there's any other solution. Cannot be for thousands of years. So why should it come?
Well, Winston Churchill, as you know, famously said that all systems of government are terrible except for democracy, and we constantly see in our populations that, they've got to try socialism, protectionism, corporatism, populism until they finally discover that conservatism is actually the only way to grow the economy. Let me change topics, though, because obviously a lot of the discussion here is global affairs, foreign policy. Truth of the matter is, although we're a diverse group, overwhelmingly we represent the global north. You're from the global south. Given where you are in the world, given that position, where do you see the future of Sri Lanka's foreign policy? What are its strategic allies, and what are the risks it faces in the next decade?
Sri Lanka's strategic allies in Asia mainly would be the southern Asian countries. We also reach out to the Middle East, India, Japan, China would be the key, and ASEAN with the three strategic allies, and then Australia also, with whom we have relations since independence. In the West, we look at Europe and the UK and the Commonwealth countries. So that will be the numbers we are dealing with. South Africa is dealing with some East African countries.
And in a world where, partly due to trade pressures, COVID, especially now the war in Ukraine, we see a growing polarization or conflict between the United States and its allies and China and its allies. Where does a country position where you are at the level of economic development you are, where do you see yourselves fitting and how do you navigate that kind of a world?
We will basically we will take the position of the global south and of Asia that both US and China are necessary. Both the Indo-Pacific and the Belt and Road Initiative plus the ASEAN outlook on Indo-Pacific. All three we are committed to. The rise of China has led to the rise of Asia. So our success depends on ensuring that China's economic development continues. But that's not enough for our part of the world. We need ASEAN and India. Given another 20-25 years, you'll see the growth of India and the ASEAN countries as well as the Middle East. So we've been able to balance ourselves. That's what small countries have to do. But we also value our relationship with US. Goes on. And we have open dialogue with them. We have no issue. Really, the Sri Lanka foreign policy has been not to allow militarization of Indian. But we have supported US from the very beginning of having a base in Yugoslavia. And now we are asking everyone to work with us in Sri Lanka and to be the chairman of IORA to ensure freedom of navigation in the Indian Ocean. But we also stand for freedom of navigation in the Pacific. And the three main issues have to be resolved. It can't be done by one group dominating all the others. China must sit down with the ASEAN countries and resolve those key issues. There has to be a reduction of tension in East Sea. And finally, a reduction of tension again on the island. So we've committed ourselves to that.
I want to dig a little deeper on the China question.
Yeah.
And I hear this all the time in Asia, that, America's important for our security, China's development's critical to our economy, we have to navigate both. And obviously, Chinese investment, Chinese business has been important for Sri Lanka. On the other hand, from what I can see, big problems with the debt obligations that China has left. Just tell a comment on that.
China was the largest bilateral creditor. The largest creditors are the private investors. China was hesitant of how they were going to handle the debt restructure. They took time. While the US came up with Japan the first, India had touched with the 3.5 billion loan. We utilized about 2.5 billion, and US came up. So with that, we started moving. We got the Paris Club. We had India and China outside. Then India joined the Paris Club. Meantime, we were talking with the Chinese, got more complicated because of the party conference in November. But at the end of it, they said, no, we are not well to, we will be with you. Then Sri Lanka, we had discussed it earlier with the IMF, we suggested the common platform. India joined the platform, China did. So China attended as an observer the meeting of the common platform, and they said they also have bilateral discussions with us, but more than us, they are having bilateral discussions with the IMF. So IMF keeps all parties informed, we keep all parties informed. At the moment, I would say both China, the platform creditors, and China working, but it took time, and I do not know how this will work with the other debtors. In the case of Sri Lanka, we had a good relationship with China, with the others, but when it comes, so you have to come up with some mechanism, and I will speak about that day after in Paris.
I'm going to ask you two other questions, then we're running a bit behind. But I do want to ask you, because it's such an important point of discussion here, once again, from a very different global south perspective, and your country has had important trade relations with both Ukraine and Russia. Tell us how you see that, and what you want to have happen.
Well, most of the global south again have kept out of this. You all have taken a very strong stand. Part of ASEAN is also, some of them are working, most of them are neutral, but some of them have voted with the resolution. No, our worry has been from the very beginning that we should not have come to this level. Could have been sorted out one way or the other. And we want to ensure that the conflict will not expand, that the conflict can be settled. We are quite worried about it. As one of the others said, every major war has started in Europe. Let's not split it out here. Our commitment is here. We are committed to the sovereignty of Ukraine. There is no question on that. It's how are we going to resolve it. And Russia can have setbacks, it can have defeat, but you can't finally get into Russia. So that's the truth. So we would like, I know you still have different views, but in the south it is, let's contain it and then see how it can be brought to close. In that way, we welcome the visit of Secretary Blinken to Beijing. President Ramaphosa has led a delegation into Russia and Ukraine, but we want to see the end of hostilities. We are not seeing the end of war. There will be negotiations, it will take time, but a lot of the countries are affected with fuel and with food. That's very hard on the African countries, especially, so we will bother on with them.
Well, as I say, on that one, we all want to see the end of hostilities. We just always have to point out that the only one who wanted the hostilities in the first place was Putin. But one last question, Ranil. So under your predecessor regime, you had talk about war, you had civil war, you had insurgency in Sri Lanka. We all know that the predecessor regime, the Rajapaksa's, ended it, but at great cost and with great lingering divisions. Given all the challenges, how do you promote reconciliation between the Tamil community and the country as a whole?
When I was the Prime Minister, I started the process. So I'm continuing from where I left off. I'm speaking with the members of Parliament representing the Tamil area. We have come to agreements on many issues. On the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, the legislation is being drafted. On the new anti-terrorist law is being presented to Parliament. There are three major issues on which there are differences between the government and opposition, two of which have been resolved. The third one finally has to be resolved by court as what is the definition of terrorism. I mean, there were so many views on it, I said let the court decide to do along whatever is said. We have the question of land being acquired to belong to the families in the north and the east. Land issue has been settled. Missing persons office are taking steps to utilize it. We will be going along on these issues. Finally, devolution and come up with a solution, which I will put to the Tamil party end of the year. We will complete the whole process by end of July. And then it will take some time to pass legislation.
Well, look, really appreciate this discussion. Appreciate your presence here. All of our countries face tremendous challenges, but I don't think any of them, except for Ukraine, face the challenges that your country faces, and you reminded us what's important when you face challenges, and that's to bring people together around courageous solutions. So thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for being here, and everybody for President Ranil Wickremesinghe.
I must thank you, and I must thank the IDU, and I hope in the early part of next year we can have you three.